I'm very interested in the alien op as it's unfolding right now, and I've visited different sites and heard what various commenters have had to say about it. Now, I'm not so much interested in the alien op because I'm fascinated by aliens, or because I have strong opinions one way or the other that aliens either do or don't exist. But I do sense that there's something afoot where the notion of aliens, or the idea of aliens, is in some way going to be used in a manner that that is, I guess, consonant with a psyop. It's going to be used in a manner that will, where it will, something will happen, some kind of disclosure will come, even though it's already sort of been coming out. There have been things in mainstream media sources, like 60 Minutes. We're not talking about, as I said before, we're not talking about, really niche kinds of venues. We're not talking about like the Discovery Channel or the Sci-Fi Channel or anything like that. That show starring Riker from Star Trek, where he talks about, is it real or did it not happen, or whatever the hell that thing was. This isn't that. This is like 60 Minutes, which I'm not saying 60 Minutes is great. I am saying it's mainstream, and I'm saying it plays to for lack of a better word, the boomer crowd, those who still believe that the mainstream media has integrity. So they're really they're kicking it up a notch, and I'm hearing all kinds of different things, and I should say, in a fit of self promotion here, that my new book, The Insurrectionist, does involve an alleged alien attack that ends up forming a centerpiece in that book, and the sort of machinations that the evil one world state is advancing. So that's if you want to get that hashtag going, it's hashtag the insurrectionist, or hashtag death to the overlords. I've decided I'm going to try to start a hashtag campaign. Good luck with all that, I guess. But anyway, that's coming. But my self-promotion aside, I do think that there's a lot of conflicting opinions being expressed. There's a lot from the sort of people, even who are on the same side, as far as this whole disclosure thing. There's something fishy about it. There's something not right about it. There's something contrived, astroturfed about it. All of which I generally am in sympathy with. But some people are saying, things like, these are, like I heard Rockin' Mr. E say that he thought that the disclosure is ultimately going to be about demonic beings. And, I'm not necessarily against that hypothesis, but it seems like you gotta kind of, I don't know, you gotta have a wait and see approach before you posit something quite that provocative. So others are saying there are real aliens. But that this is this effort to frame it as an alien threat is what's the astroturfed psyop. That's the real problem with all of this attention that's been again, given to this subject in the mainstream media, because a few supposed insiders or a few supposed ex-insiders who cynics think remain insiders, but just are posing as ex-insiders, are coming out with this stuff, and they've got all this grainy footage of things here, there, and wherever. But I happen to be sporadically reading right now C.S. Lewis's space trilogy. These are the 3 books, the first one titled Out of the Silent Planet, the second one titled Paralandra, and the third one is That Hideous Strength. Right now, I'm on the second one, Paralandra. And Lewis is interesting because a lot of the, I guess that a lot of the either-or kind of thinking that I'm seeing posited by people who see people of a Christian bent, some of a Christian bent, or of a religious bent. The way that some of them are seeing, well, to take a broader sort of point of view on all of this, this entire flat Earth scenario, which I rarely bring up, which I rarely like to get into, because it's sort of it's a rabbit hole. It's a briar patch, rhetorically. It's not something that I really want to. It's not something I really want to debate. I don't have any interest in debating whether the flat Earth model is true or not. I will admit I'm not really a flat Earth. I'm not really down with the flat Earth notion or concept or idea. But I think people who are down with it aren't just dummies or lunatics or to be mocked either. I think they can be people of, and often are people of goodwill with who are applying their skills of analysis and have just reached different conclusions about things. But I've wondered a lot lately, and I actually recorded a video about this on my other channel. I've wondered a lot lately why various Christians today, some Christians who would call themselves, I guess, maybe fundamentalists, or I don't know if they would embrace that term or not, but Christians who reject modernism. It seems that more of them now are talking about flat Earth and talking about how, if we follow the Bible, then there's no such thing as space, and there's nothing about the Earth being a sphere, and they talk about the firmament being discussed in Genesis, and how that helps to support the entire flat Earth idea. And they talk about the entire notion of space as being, some kind of atheistic psyop, something to convince us that we're just tiny little creatures in the middle of an infinite blackness, a universe of a huge universe that dwarfs us, and so therefore we are nothing, and all of that, and all of these ideas about the Copernican cosmology, generally speaking, the whole belief in the solar system, the belief that the Earth is the third planet from the sun, that the sun is a massive ball of gas, and that the moon orbits around the Earth, and so forth and so on, and that the Earth rotates on its axis, and that gravity is real. All of these things, like 20 years ago, 15 or 20 years ago, you find me the most hardcore fundamentalist out there, anti-modernist, Bible-believing, inerrant, but the Bible is the literal and inerrant word of God types of people. None of them were positing flat Earth. I mean, maybe some were, and I didn't know about it, but it was something you never heard about it. Nobody talked about it. I grew up in an area where there were a lot of fundamentalist churches, and I went to school with a lot of kids who were members of these churches, and I was in the Bible Belt, so I feel like I had, while not really being a part of that culture, I felt like I had a pretty good handle on that culture and how they generally saw things. There was never anything about flat Earth, about the Earth being flat in the 80s, in the 90s, even into the aughts. But it seems like in the last maybe 10 years or so, the flat Earth thing has really caught on. And I know that there are some people who believe flat Earth who aren't religious, but it seems like it's really caught on amongst many who see the flat Earth model as being consonant with the biblical model. If we take the Bible again as the inerrant, not only inerrant word of God, but as the literal word of God in every way. Genesis has to be read literally. The earth was created in 6 days. Well, your typical fundamentalist Christian in 1986 would say, yeah, the earth was literally created in 6 days, about 6,000 years ago. They would say something like that. They would posit, the young earth notion, but they would still say that the earth was a planet and that it was the third planet from the sun, and that there were 7 or 8 other planets, depending on when Pluto got demoted or when it got promoted as a planet. And that all that they say about Jupiter and Mars and etc., that all those things are real. So it wasn't like there was any kind of real tension there. There was tension with the whole notion of evolution. There was tension with the whole notion of, the Earth being millions or however billions of years old, or however old it's supposed to be, hundreds of millions of years, I guess, and of man evolving from primordial slime. Those are the kinds of things that they fought, but not the notion that the Earth was round. So I often wonder why this notion of flat Earth has arisen now. The idea of flat Earth as this as a model to posit for, as again, in the ways that I've been discussing just now. I guess if you heard anybody talk about the Earth being flat prior to 2011 or thereabouts, it was just sort of like, oh, well, there's cranks out there. There's people out there who believe the Earth is flat. It was never. It just didn't seem like it was believed by anyone. So I wonder why now. Why the need? And I think that's what I was originally going to go into more detail about the C.S. Lewis trilogy, but I think I'll put that off for another video. That's another aspect of this entire alien op that I think is worth discussing, because Lewis really, uses space and talks about aliens and alien life forms on other planets. It's all very speculative, but he very creatively uses it in a way that helps to give some texture to his theological notions. But I'll get into that a little bit more next time. For now, let's just stick with the question: why flat Earth? Why the need to posit flat Earth? Again, without getting into a debate about whether flat Earth is true or not. I'm just curious. It's curious to me that that now, at least for some people, believing in the Copernican notion of the cosmos, but believing in the young Earth theory and disbelieving in evolution, that's not enough. Now you also have to think that space isn't real, and that the Earth is flat, and that there's an ice sheet that surrounds the edges of the world. It seems like that kind of mindset just kind of seemed to come out of nowhere. Maybe it was a psyop, as some would suggest, but if so, what? I'm hesitate to call everything a psyop. Like the notion that the universe is vast. That in no way. I don't care how large the universe is. That doesn't mean that man was not created in God's image. It just doesn't. There's no the biblical religious notion, the Christian notion or idea that man created God in his image. That has no bearing on whether the Earth is all there is and there's no space, or the Earth is one planet in a rather large solar system, in a gigantic galaxy, in a humongous universe. It doesn't matter. Those are irrelevancies. But somehow that's posited as a psyop by some. While on the other hand, some people say, well, this whole flat Earth thing is a psyop. They say that for other reasons, I guess. Maybe it's a psyop to get us to believe kooky stuff, to make religious people seem kooky, and take away their credibility or whatever. I don't know. But it doesn't. Neither of them follows. You see what I'm saying? I hope you do. So now I'll just let that question linger out there. Why flat Earth? Why now? Interested in anybody's thoughts on that subject. And next time, or maybe sometime soon, I will talk a little bit more about C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy. So talk to y'all soon. Also remember to get that, if you want to get that hashtag started, the insurrectionist, death to the overlords. We'll see if we can get that cooking and get my book really give it some momentum, because it's a very timely book, if I do say so myself. And it's set to release sometime soon, although I don't know for sure exactly when, but it should be within the next few weeks. Thanks for watching, everybody. My name is Andy Nowicki. You can check out my work at altrightnovelist.com.